So I see the note cards that we didn't get to. I'm going to take them home and answer them one by one. So a priest, a minister, and a rabbi are unfortunately all elderly, ill, and in the hospital in the same room. And the doctor comes by to give them all the bad news. And the father says, "May I have one final wish, as it were?" "Yes, of course. I'd like to get together with my family. I'll make that happen," the doctor says. And the pastor says, "I have a final wish too. I'd like to go to the chapel, and I'd like to have some time for private prayer. Of course, we'll make that happen." The rabbi is very quiet. Finally, the doctor says, "And you, Rabbi, what can I do for you?" And the rabbi says, "I'd like another doctor." "I'd like another doctor" gives me the chance to say that in addition to the $16 trillion in debt that the president is leaving our children, and he's been a horrible president regarding our economy and job growth and growth in the economy. The growth rates are very low. He's left us with a lot of taxes and a lot of mandates. We didn't get too much to Obamacare, but it's a disaster. He also has not been in favor of medical devices and what they call personalized medicine. Choice and competition is what's going to work in education. Choice and competition is what's going to work in healthcare. He's leaving us a 1960s era model in a 21st century world. We're going to fall behind China and India in terms of numbers of engineers. We're going to fall behind in personalized healthcare, which is the opportunity to wear a patch which can detect what kind of cancer you potentially might get in 5 years or 15 years or 25 years. All of the invention, all of the innovation in a growing free market economy is limited by Obama's mandates. This is a presidency and administration that wants to rule from Washington, D.C. And as our first president, first in war, first in peace, first in the hearts of his countrymen, warned us that government can be a fearful master and a difficult servant. The vice president decided that the GOP wants to keep us all in chains. The attorney general was held in contempt of Congress for one of his cover-ups and his deception about Fast and Furious. He failed to enforce the law regarding the new Black Panthers. He called us a nation of cowards. And he opposes voter ID, which of course is the standard in Canada, Mexico, Europe, and Israel. The Secretary of Energy promotes higher and higher gas prices and even roots for them. The Director of Counterterrorism considers Jerusalem to be Al-Quds. The Secretary of Homeland Security considers our borders safer than ever, even while 50,000 lives have been murdered and lost on our border, and the war, in fact, has crossed our border. The Treasury Secretary did not pay his taxes. The Secretary of State berates the Prime Minister of Israel for a bureaucratic decision to allow apartment building development in Jewish Jerusalem. The HHS Secretary violated the law and clear policy by unilaterally revoking work requirements for welfare. Even many Democrats joined many Republicans to reinstate the work requirement for welfare. The NLRB sought to deny Boeing the right to create new jobs in South Carolina. The NASA director claims his task is to make Muslims feel better about their contribution to math and science in history. The president unilaterally changed the rules on immigration. Why? Because Senator Rubio dared to come up with a solution that would have had bipartisan support, but the president, as I indicated in my opening remarks, not interested in bipartisanship, not interested in solutions, but everything is seen through a political lens. Obamacare passed in the dark of night. There have been no new trade deals in 4 years. And finally, the president is the one with very little and now very bad experience in foreign policy. He's, after all, the one who called our greatest corpsman. It's a serious campaign by a serious man, Governor Romney, who's been an executive leader in Massachusetts, who's been a person who knows about the economy, who will grow jobs, who will be probably a center-right person in office. And so I think I can confidently say it would be a mitzvah to vote for Romney.
priest, minister, or rabbi, but Catholics think that human beings begin at conception. Roe v. Wade says that human beings begin at birth. Jews don't think that life begins until your child gets an MD degree and moves out of the house. President Obama's record has been absolutely wonderful given what he was given by the Bush administration. The fact of the matter is that if you're talking about bipartisanship, both of the Republican leader of the House and the Republican leader of the Senate, back 2 years ago, already said, we're going to make sure that everything we do in the next 2 years is to make sure that Obama is not reelected. And they have been obstructionists on absolutely everything in order for that alone. And they have said it straight out. And so if you want an obstructionist government, such as we've had over the last 2 years, then you vote for Republicans. If you want a government that's going to do something, then you vote not only for President Obama, but you vote for other Democrats that are running for Congress. And why would you do that? Well, first on social issues, job creation. An economy recovery program supported as many as 3.6 million jobs by cutting taxes, investing in clean energy, roads and bridges, keeping teachers in classrooms, and protecting unemployment benefits. Obama rescued the auto industry, preventing the loss of more than 1.4 million jobs, not just in autos, but all the ancillary stuff. The private sector has created nearly 4.6 million jobs during 30 straight months of private sector growth, but our work is not done. Obviously, we have to get the employment rate yet further down. The Americans, for the very first time since 2007, now think that the government is going in the right direction, and that's because of the measures that President Obama has put into place. The Democrats have committed to American women and their families, equal pay for equal work, improving women's health, and protecting their right to choose. Democrats have made health care accessible and affordable in ways that it never has been before by ending insurance company abuses, prohibiting insurers from denying coverage to people with pre-existing conditions, canceling coverage when someone gets sick. And they've kept premiums low, they've expanded access to care, so we no longer have 40 million Americans. As of 2014, because of Obamacare, we will no longer have 40 million Americans who don't have health insurance, and they will get coverage, but they will get coverage in the emergency room, which is by far the most expensive place where they can get coverage. So even on a fiscal level, it makes no sense whatsoever what we've been doing until now, but under Obamacare, they will have coverage, and that will be fiscally important and make sense as well as morally so, because then these people will not have to live with their illnesses until they land in the emergency room. Seniors will understand that the donut hole in terms of their drug coverage has now been closed, and that also is part of Obamacare. He is out to educate the world, to educate us in order to be able to compete in the world, hence Pell Grants, hence a number of education initiatives that he has started. And on Israel, as I've said to you a number of times, he has supported the state of Israel in fact, not just in language, and not just promises, but in fact, over the last 4 years, he has made Israel more secure than it had ever been under any previous president. It just asked Minister of Defense of the State of Israel.
Thanks, Rabbi Elliot Dorff. Very briefly, to all of you for coming. I one privilege of the chair. This past summer, I happened to be in Philadelphia and went to the National Jewish Museum of American History, a new museum in Philadelphia, and it has the original letter that George Washington sent to the Jewish congregation, the Hebrew congregation in Newport. And there's one paragraph, I think, as we enter the final weeks before the election, it's important to keep in mind how fortunate we are to live in this country. It is now no more than that toleration is spoken of as if it were the indulgence of one class of people that another enjoy the exercise of their inherent natural rights. For happily, the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance, requires only that they who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens in giving it on all occasions their effectual support. I hope we will all be the best citizens. Thank you.